Let's take a look now at some of the tools that we can use to analyze a terrain model. And in our terrain model task, we have analyze volumes, a point, analyze between points, trace slope, analyze a pond, or create cut and fill volumes. And we also have a couple down here for reporting of crossing features or conflicting points. We're going to focus primarily on these 6 tools. So the first one, the analyze volumes, allows us to select the method. So we have the options here for terrain model to terrain model or terrain model to plane. And so we do terrain model to terrain model. I'm going to accept that. And we locate, I'm going to window out here and locate our existing terrain. So that's our from terrain. And then our to terrain would be our proposed roadway. And then we can put in a cut factor if we want to do a shrink and swell factor. I'll just leave those at 1 for now. And then we have a boundary. We can select that. I'm going to reset for none. And then I'm going to save my results. And that allows you actually to write the information into the drawing if you needed to, follow up on that for any particular reason. But you can see the difference in the cut, and this is cubic feet. The little tick 3 is a cubic foot symbol. So you have a cut and fill, volume, and also the balance. And so you'll see in this particular situation we have a lot more fill than we have cut, and it gives you that difference. And so that's one of the tools that we can utilize for analysis of terrain models. The second one is to analyze a point. And this one's very simple. All you do is you select your terrain model, and as you move around in your terrain model, you have some different options here. You can say display contours, display the slope if you want to. And so as you move your mouse around, you're going to get context-sensitive feedback based on where your particular mouse is at as you move around, and you'll see. And if you turn on your triangles, it'll show which triangle is highlighted and what the slope direction is and the value of that slope. So that's your analyze point. Then likewise, we have the analyze between points. And so we select our terrain model again, and our start point and our end point. And at any time, if I accept this, it'll actually write that permanently to the file. And the same thing with analyze point or analyze between 2 points. So if you needed to do, for example, some drainage analysis, you certainly could. I'm going to undo that. And then the next one is the analyze trace slope. And so we'll select our terrain. And this is going to take on whatever feature definition you have set here. And we have different trace methods. We have maximum slope trace or constant slope trace. And we put in our value and our length and our minimum depth and our direction. And it'll take from your current position. And then you can set the length, for example. Let's say that you wanted a length here of 50 feet. And so that'll affect how far that trace takes place. And so that is our trace slope command. And again, if you place data point, it will go ahead and write that to the file. The next command is to analyze pond. And again, we locate our terrain model. And I'm going to window out before I do that just so you'll see. So we'll locate our terrain model, and you can see on this terrain model we have one particular ponding area. And as I hover over that pond, we're going to get informational feedback. For example, the volume, the depth, the elevation of where I'm at there, and basically the low point elevation, and then the area of the pond. And if we data point, it'll actually save that information. And so when we hit that, it'll highlight or show all the ponds on that particular terrain model. And then as you hover over them, that information will be given back to you. The last particular command here is the create cut and fill volumes. What this will do will create a volumetric mesh of cut and of fill, a 3-dimensional mesh actually, compared between 2 terrain models. And so if I select this, it's going to ask me first to select my existing surface, which is way out here. And then it's going to ask me then to pick my proposed surface, which is going to be this terrain model here. And then it asks us for a couple of feature definitions. I just picked top mesh and bottom mesh for cut. So cut is going to be my top mesh, and fill is going to be my bottom mesh. And data point to accept. And this will actually build two additional three-dimensional mesh. And to clean this up a little bit, I'm going to turn my proposed terrain model feature definition over to design boundary. And so you can clearly now see the areas of cut and the areas of fill. And so if I hover over, for example, this is the bottom mesh, and this is what we call the top mesh. And if I go to this top mesh and go to quick properties, you're going to see a lot of information. For example, here's the volume of that particular mesh and the surface area. And this is three-dimensional, so like if I rotate, you're going to actually see a depth to this. And so it has a top and a bottom. And so this is a real volumetrical solution, if you will, between the existing and proposed finished grades. And so it's a quick way for you to, check what are the volumes that I'm looking at. And so you can see the analysis here. And so those are the 5 or 6 different options we have for analyzing a terrain model or comparing between terrain models.